Hi guys, welcome. And if you're new here, my name is Elaine, and on this channel I talk mostly about bags from mid-range to vintage luxury. And today I'm actually going to be talking about luxury in general. So yeah, a little bit of a chit chat today. I did see a really interesting article from the Business of Fashion discussing luxury and also why a lot of brands are going upmarket, or basically increasing their prices. I know that I'm currently in that luxury space. I talk about luxury handbags. I also like luxury watches. And I've been very fortunate to be able to have quite a few go through my collection. So I really know sort of what it used to be like, what it is like now. And I definitely believe luxury means different things to different people. For some people, it just means ridiculously expensive and wasteful. Like I know my mom's like that. To others, it means, something that lasts, that has excellent craftsmanship, something of beauty. I'll go a little bit into what luxury means to me personally. So I definitely don't like luxury as a status symbol. So yes, I have these Kellys here. I would say that is probably my most status symbol-y of bags. I did have Birkins. I didn't really like it. I never take those Kellys out anywhere. I don't want to be showing off. I don't want to be catching people's eyes, especially, I don't want to get robbed. So I personally collect some things, some luxurious things, because I see it as like a thing of beauty. For those two bags especially, they're vintage box leather Kellys. Out of all the things, Hermes makes one of the most beautiful bags that they've ever made. And part of it for some people is just like the experience of it. You go into a boutique, you get the whole white glove red carpet treatment. Me, not so much. I definitely want a friendly sales associate, but if they're a little bit too catering, I'm kind of like, leave me alone. I'm going to look at it on myself. Like, I just don't want to feel pressured to buy anything. So even if I'm offered like champagne or water, I'll just say, no, I'm good, thanks. Probably because of that, most of my bags are purchased online from secondhand resellers. Like I don't put any value in that, really. So anyways, I did see this article about generational differences when it comes to the meaning of luxury. Gen Z, they view luxuries as self-expression, and they're more into micro luxuries. So for Gen Z, luxury is a form of self-expression and storytelling rather than a display of affluence. The asset type, they favor micro luxuries, so small, high brand identity items like a designer bag charm that allows them to buy into the brand's narrative without purchasing a full collection. Love that. Yeah. Values, luxury must be fluid and personal. They reject traditional fashion rules in favor of items that communicate individuality. And behaviors, over 50% prioritize memories over merchandise, spending on festivals, cultural events, and travel. They are the most digitally fluent, with nearly 50% having made luxury purchases through live streaming or social media. I feel some of that, but I'm also not Gen Z, so I don't really go to festivals or concerts. I definitely fall a little bit more into an older generation when it comes to luxury. Millennials view luxury as a tool for lifestyle enhancement and financial stability. So asset type, this generation is driving a 2026 trend called nest investing, where they prioritize high-functioning real estate over personal luxury goods. They seek homes that act as sanctuaries for well-being, featuring built-in wellness infrastructure like cold plunges and spa-quality amenities. So yes, we did sink a lot of money into our house, and we are continue to sink money into our house because we are improving it. So we're improving the bathrooms right now. We're kind of in a state of perennial construction. We've been working on these bathrooms, or this one bathroom in the laundry room, for a while now, but we're getting there. But yes, I feel this. We are definitely nest investing and putting a lot of our money into our home. I also do put some money, of course, in traditional investments, but that's a story for another time. Values, they value authenticity and environmental accountability, placing higher importance on sustainable manufacturing and ethical sourcing than older generations. I would agree. A lot of the reason why I like secondhand luxury is because it is secondhand. I don't know. When I see the amount of products in a fast fashion store, it makes me uneasy. I've used to be, before going on YouTube, I did do quite a bit of like ethical slow fashion blogging. I don't want to call it a phase, but I think it was just that time in my life, 2020, I was going deep into secondhand and slow fashion. And, coming out of 2020, I worked at a zero waste shop. So yeah, I would say ethical manufacturing and sourcing is important to me. Overall, though, take that with a grain of salt, because I think consumption habits also matter. You might think, look at all my bags and be like, wow, she's out of control. My bag collection is another beast, but everything else in my life, I really try to be a little more mindful when I buy things, clothes, mostly secondhand, and also try to really limit beauty products because it's a lot of plastic that you're wasting. Anyways, I would say yes, I agree. Market influence, often seen as the bridge between eras. They utilize luxury to signal status, but are equally likely to shop the resale market for investment pieces. Yeah, I guess, I'm a millennial, and even though I'm a geriatric millennial, I definitely identify with this. And baby boomers. So I guess Gen X, sorry, you're not in this. But for boomers, luxury is deeply rooted in traditional status symbols and tangible indicators of wealth. They prioritize hard luxury items like natural diamond jewelry and high-end designer labels. Values. Their concept of luxury is often tied to exclusivity, craftsmanship, and prestige. So, I do kind of feel that too. Usually when you talk about like slow fashion or designer luxury, they tend to be well crafted. But nothing irritates me more than something that is labeled luxury and then poorly crafted. Recent shifts. While still the silver spenders, many boomers are now pivoting toward luxury experiences, such as premium hotels rather than just physical goods. All right, so that's sort of the long form, and they also do have a little comparison table. So, saying what the focus usually is, what they like to buy. Yeah, it's interesting. On this particular chart here that I'm going to throw up, they also talk about shopping mode. So baby boomers is like high touch boutique service, which is what I was talking about before about, getting the red carpet, white glove treatment at a store. I actually don't like that. I guess that's more of a baby boomer thing. Millennials, physical plus digital, which I agree. Most of my purchases are online. I sometimes go into a boutique to try things out or to the Real, but honestly, like even my last couple of Celine reviews where I got a brand new Celine bag, I did get it online, even Hermes, right? So, and then Gen Z, it says social and live stream. So yeah, I've never purchased anything through a live stream. Yeah, I don't even buy it through other Instagram or YouTube vlog sales, which, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I have never done it. Maybe I'll try it sometime. Everything else sort of I talked about already. And then so business of fashion, where they lumped in Gen Z and millennials, and I'm throwing this up here, Gen X, and then boomers and silent generation. And so this chart is showing what's more important to them and what is less important. And I guess these highlighted green ones are things that they want you to look at. So the attributes of luxury, according to high net worth shoppers. So this is high net worth shoppers in different generations think of as the definition of luxury. But you got to take it with a grain of salt. They only polled 300 people. US, UK, China, it's a fairly small number. So Gen Z millennials, they say premium exclusivity is up top. Okay. Quality and craftsmanship. Okay, that's about right. And personal status and identity, which aligns with the other statement. Elegant, timelessness, unique, affluence, and wealth, which I guess is showing how wealthy you are. And innovation and design is bottom, which I'm kind of surprised, but okay. Gen X, its own category now. First, most important to them, I guess, in this very small survey is quality and craftsmanship. Second is premium and exclusive. Third is affluence and wealth, which is, if you can see on the chart, is number 6 for Gen Z. Elegant and timelessness, unique, indulgent, and extravagant, which is the first time we're seeing this, and personal status and identity. And the oldest generation here, they put boomers and silent generation. Top is quality and craftsmanship. Second is premium and exclusive. Third is affluence and wealth. Fourth, unique. Fifth, indulgent and extravagant. Six, elegant and timeless. And 7 is innovation and design. So as you can see, amongst all the generations, though they're kind of in different orders, the top 2 things is quality and craftsmanship, and second is premium and exclusive, which I agree. That's to me, that's what luxury is. Is it well made? And I guess in a sense, how easy it is to get. I mean, I know exclusivity is sort of a big driving factor of luxury. You know, if everybody can get it, is it still considered luxury even if it's well made? I think maybe in traditional definitions of luxury, I think maybe not. If it's exclusive, then the human mind just wants it more. And I think that's where they're willing to pay more. And as long as the quality and craftsmanship is there, it gets lumped into that luxury definition. But then I guess if you think about it that way, then isn't some of the most exclusive and well-made things secondhand luxuries, vintage luxuries, things that were made by a certain number of people in factories back in the 90s, and there's no way you can get another vintage bag like that. It is interesting, all these brands are doing re-editions or bringing old styles back out, especially the Y2K styles. And I don't know if it's working for them, but at the same time, it's not really as luxurious as the vintage stuff, because the vintage stuff is much harder to get, especially in a good condition, And I do think the quality of materials that they used back then is going to be better. Now they're just charging a lot, and I don't think you're getting as much. But anyways, and that actually goes hand in hand to my next point here, and the next topic that I wanted to cover, which is about how, and as I'm going to throw up this article here in this Business of Fashion, why almost every brand is moving upmarket. So the gist of this article, I'm just going to summarize it here, is that, this is not just about bags. This is about pretty much every brand, right? So they focus mostly on clothing retailers, but if Shein and Temu are coming in with the really cheap disposable fashion, then, places like Zara, H&M, and Uniqlo are having to kind of move up. And I think they're also naturally moving up because in sort of price bracket, but also, hopefully in quality, but that's debatable. But at least in price, they're moving up because they can't really compete with the dirt cheap stuff. And they also want to differentiate themselves from the Sheins and the Temus. But also as luxury goes crazy high, astronomically high, into the stratosphere of pricing, it leaves sort of a gap in that mid-market range. So I think a lot of these other brands, especially you look at COS, that's the Zara's sister brand that's more upscale. They do use better quality materials, but their pricing is also higher. No, maybe it's H&M. It's H&M, right? I'll put it down here. Anyways, let's just say it's one of those. But basically, cost is up there now, and you see those list indexes. I'll put it up here. They are trending upwards and are, sitting amongst these luxury giants because they're kind of filling that gap for that mid-market price range and quality. Especially nowadays, just because it's a luxury fashion brand doesn't mean you're getting that much better quality in materials and manufacturing. Just look at that Miu Miu video that went viral with, I forget his name. I'll put it up here, but basically he bought, very expensive items from Miu Miu and they were just falling apart. And I think a lot of people agree, that's sort of the state of luxury fashion these days. So, for costs, you're not going to spend as much, and then you're still going to get, it looks a lot like sometimes the Bro or other brands. You're going to get well-designed items that are using fairly good materials for a much more reasonable price point. I'm just going to throw this up here again. Brands are reducing SKUs for cheaper products and increasing them in higher price brackets. So they're having, this is mostly for the mid-market, they're doing less cheap items, fast fashion places especially, and they're adding them to higher price brackets. So everything is, again, moving up mid-market. And this is their segment identifications for these tiers. So affordable luxury, they call Coach affordable luxury. Price point example, 160 to 320. I would say Sangmont is in there when it comes to bags. Polen a little bit up there. And then under that is premium bridge. So in terms of attire, they have Aritzia and COS, and that's 100 to 180. Mid-market, Zara, Gap, 40 to 100. Value, H&M, Uniqlo, $20 to $40. And discount is Primark. We don't have a Primark here, so I mean, is that Shein? Less than $20? That's really cheap. And then, last but not least, their takeaway here is that higher prices demand superior quality and refreshed design. Customers are expected to become more cautious with their spending in 2026. True. For those who do splurge, they will be paying special attention to signifiers of value for money, such as craftsmanship, durability, and sharp creative direction. Brands that raise prices without improving quality or design risk alienating customers and eroding brand equity. Agree. Yeah, if you're going to raise those prices, let's see some quality and interesting design. But last but not least, I did also want to touch upon Tanner Leatherstein's video. It's been out for a while now where he does his own grading of the luxury brands, and he grades them he grades them on 4 different things. 1, shopping experience. 2, product quality. 3, exclusivity. And 4, brand perception. So out of those 4, one, shopping experience is so varied. Like, it really depends which store, what, sales associates helping you, what is their mood for that day, what is the other customers like for that day. Like, it's too variable to actually grade in any sort of sense. Not unless you've gone to each of these stores 10 times and you would say out of the 10 times, the average experience was, a 6 or a 7. And then it would have to be at different locations, different sales associates. Because he put LVMH way up there, but I have not had great experiences at Louis Vuitton, I should say. He put Louis Vuitton up there. I much prefer Loewe. I've had great customer experience across various Loewe stores all around the world. And then also just he got really swayed by Louis Vuitton's displays in Paris, but like they do that in Loewe in Japan. Those displays are just as awesome and wonderful. Dior too in Japan is huge. So I think shopping experience, you can't really grade on that. Next, he talks about product quality and craftsmanship. So this is his wheelhouse, right? This is what he really knows. I trust and believe him when it comes to his gradings on craftsmanship. But of course, another caveat is different bags at different price points, even within the same brand, are going to have different quality and quality issues. So I've noticed my Bottega Wallace is the cheaper line of Bottega, and the weave and quality of the leather they use for that is not as nice as, say, the Andiamo, which is one of their, I forget what the term is, but legacy bags or whatever. So you can take it back and get it fixed indefinitely, sort of like they're trying to do the Hermes model for that. So the Andiamo, I think the Cabas, which is their big toe, basically anything in the very high-end line is going to be able to come back to be fixed and repaired. And the leather they use for that and the craftsmanship for that is way better than the Wallace, which is on the $2,000 price point. I mean, high-end I'm talking about, I think they're like $6,000 to $8,000 at this point, right? So again, product quality depends on the product that you have. Exclusivity, is this bag truly limited? And yes, that is what a lot of luxury hinges upon. That is what Hermes is banking on. That is what Chanel is trying to get to. But I mean, to be honest, it's a little too late for Chanel. Like, you have a ton of flat bags in the market. They're just all secondhand. And so to be asking people to pay $10,000 for a flat bag is ridiculous. Sure, that makes the new bags from Chanel more exclusive because who's really paying for that? But then if you really want a Chanel, just go vintage. You get gold-plated hardware, better craftsmanship, and, anywhere from like a third to a half the price for the exact same looking bag. So I think when you talk about exclusivity, then it's got to be a brand that's been really controlling their supply and their output for their whole brand history. So Hermes, they can be the king of the hill, king of the brands, luxury brands, because they've been controlling their output, because they continue to hand make most of these bags. I would put Goyard up there in that sense because, again, exclusivity, they're really hard to get. Craftsmanship is actually very good. The way they make their bags are very good. But then you're talking about the materials like canvas. How much is that canvas really worth? I mean, back in the day, it used to be hand painted. So yeah, that's really special. But nowadays, they're just screen printed. And canvas is basically just cloth with plastic on top. I mean, the leather that they use is good. If you're just grading luxury in terms of exclusivity, Goyard's up there. I mean, I would even put Delvaux and Valextra up there. Moynat, because they're all fairly exclusive, like they're not as overproduced as a Chanel, Dior, Louis Vuitton. Also because they weren't ever as popular. So of course, you know, if you're not popular, the brand isn't going to dilute their exclusivity by just pumping out product if nobody's buying them. So historically, you know, Delvaux, Moynat, and Valextra, I think used to be more handmade, hand-stitched. I don't think that's the case now. But in terms of what's out there, there's not a lot out there. So he doesn't rank any of those in this luxury scale. And I think that should be there. And last but not least, brand perception. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but this is sort of, you know, it's for the people who buy luxury because they care what other people think, which it might start off that way. Like I could say maybe that's how I was in my 20s, but I don't continue to buy luxury for other people, you know. I buy it for myself, but I also do stay away from logos. As I talked about earlier in this video, for quality, craftsmanship, you know, ethical sourcing. And yeah, and I guess in the sense of exclusivity, like I wouldn't want to carry a bag that everybody else has, which is why for me, vintage luxury has been sort of my go-to in the last couple of years. You know, I've been very lucky to be able to buy it off of Japanese eBay. Nowadays, post-tariffs, I don't buy as much, which is probably a good thing. But I mean, yeah, the tariffs are just killing me. Oh, I guess the only thing about brand perception, which is important to me, is if I'm going to resell it. So, you know, I love Machino Paris. I talk about them in my review here. The quality is good. Craftsmanship is good. Everything's made in Florence, Italy. But there's zero brand perception at this point. So in the resale market, it's just honestly, for the most part, not worth reselling. Luckily, I have been able to find some Machino bags secondhand from Japanese eBay. It's a little bit bigger in Japan, so they do have a little bit more stock available. I'm able to buy it for about half the price. But then if I were to resell it in the United States, I think, you know, so my Lutece, the Nano, which I loved, but it was a little too small. I sold it to a friend actually, but even then I could only get less than half of what I bought it for. So yeah, in that way, I would say brand perception for a luxury item is kind of important. But for me personally, wearing it, I don't really care. Yeah, it's more about if I'm selling it, which, you know, I'm the buy and sell type of collector, so it factors in. He went and did his gradings. I mean, this is my personal gradings of what is the best luxury house, but of course, Hermes is still up top. Exclusivity, craftsmanship, choice of materials. Though, I mean, actual experience in the store, well, they're on the bottom. Hermes game sucks. A lot of Hermes sales associates are super snobby. That sucks. So, you know, it depends. I think obviously if you have a great sales associate and it's fun for you and it's a pleasant experience and there's no pressure in buying and you still get offered bags, like, yeah, I could see how Hermes is like number one for you. But, you know, it's a little bit lower for me. Other top luxury brands, in my opinion, I would say Goyard. I already talked about that. Valextra, Moynat, Delvaux. Yeah, all of that. They went on exclusivity. Shopping experience. I mean, the Valextra store in Hawaii is great. I loved them. But I don't have a lot of experience in other Valextra stores. I don't know if I would put Chanel up there. I mean, Chanel's trying to get up there, but I've never had great shopping experiences in Chanel. Yeah, I don't know. I'll throw it out there, but I don't agree. When it comes to the LVMH brands, Loewe, Celine, Louis Vuitton, Dior, they all kind of, to me, rank under that. They're all a mixed bag. Like I said, I love Loewe. I think Loewe craftsmanship has been great. Design has been great. Leathers have been great. Craftsmanship, actually, there was a hammock bag that wasn't great. So again, mixed bag. I don't have a ton of experience with Louis Vuitton or Dior and not current Celine. But I would say, I mean, they're all kind of there. And then carrying, you know, Gucci, what else is under? Is Balenciaga under there? Again, not as great. So to me, any sort of conglomerate brand, honestly, is sort of like fake luxury. sort of like fake exclusivity and craftsmanship, you know, as you've heard, has gotten worse over the years. The row, I forgot to add the row in there. So the row craftsmanship is great, leather quality is great. I can't say boutique experience. I mean, I did buy something brand new in stores in Japan, which was very nice, but it's also Japan. Would love to check out, you know, the one in LA, maybe the one in New York, the one in Paris. But I think from what I've seen, boutique experience is not particularly luxurious. Brand recognition, so-so. Resale value is so-so. Anyways, why am I rambling on about this? And I guess I just want to also explain sort of like what my definition of luxury is. Some people don't view secondhand as luxury, which I get, you know, someone used it, it's dirty. But I think luxury in terms of at least craftsmanship and exclusivity. So that's why I would still deem vintage luxury as luxury. But anyways, I'm interested to hear what you guys think. What is luxury for you? You know, is it luxury travel, luxury experiences? Is it vintage luxury? Is it luxury in the boutique? Of course, everyone's going to have their own definition. And, you know, somewhere in that range is sort of a true definition of luxury. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting. These articles, I liked how they broke it down. I liked how they broke it down by generations. So yeah, let me know what you think. And thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.